guys, welcome to Kim with Kim. I'm Kim, and today we're gonna be talking about who is Tim Walz, right? Vice President. Well, Kamala Harris is running for president. This is her vice president candidate, and when he was announced, I had no idea who he was. So I thought, if I don't know who he is, maybe you don't know who he is, and we'd like to know who is Tim Walz. So he is the 41st governor of Minnesota currently. He's 60 years old. He was in the National Guard, and then he became a school teacher. He actually has a great background. Looking into why he was picked, I can see why, because as the governor of Minnesota, he's won 2 elections, so 2018, then he won again in 2022. He was first elected before that to the House of Representatives in 2006, and he won 5 terms for Minnesota as their, representative in the House. So 5 terms is definitely something to be mentioned. You can see why he was reelected, because he did a lot of good. Minnesota as a state, he works really hard for the middle class. Now all school lunches are free in Minnesota. That's thanks to Tim Walz. Ooh, it got my eye. I'm fine. Maybe I'm not. Sorry. Ooh. Be careful when moisturizing underneath your eyes. Don't be like me and get so close. My own mistakes. Learn from my mistakes, because now my eyes burn. Okay. Tim Walz. Sorry. Yes. So he works really hard for women's rights. He works really hard, like I said, for the middle class. He is currently a dad of 2. So Gus is 17, that's his son. His daughter's 23, and that is Hope. So his wife and him have actually faced some difficulties in becoming parents, and I feel like that's why he works really hard for women's rights, because the mistake that people have is like, oh, women's rights is just your right to abortion. It's not just your right to abortion that's being fought over when it comes to women's rights. It's the right for IVF. It's the right for fertility treatments. It's the right to freeze your eggs. It's, yes, abortion, but, it's also safely, some pregnancies are not safe for women, and they cannot continue as much as they want. So all of that is included under women's rights. He has obviously experienced some of that because he had to go through, a lot of trials before he could get the tribulations of his daughter Hope and now his son Gus. So bear that in mind when you hear women's rights, and bear that in mind when you're hearing about him, because now I can see, like I said, why he was chosen for the candidate. He worked so hard for the middle class. He was reelected as a representative 5 times. That means that he has the people's support in his state, and that means that I can hopefully, understand now why he would gain the support of the nation, because he's doing good. He's doing these things that are not just good for one set of people. Like, working for the middle class does not only benefit the middle class. If the middle class is good, then the entire economy is good. The entire economy flourishes. The working class is what thrives. The working class is where we get all of our, future leaders, future educators, future scholars. So he has a degree in social science. He understands the way that politics work. He understands what is needed in order for the nation to thrive, and you can see that in his state. Minnesota is actually a thriving state. I had to look into it, so now we find that out. But I definitely think he is a good candidate for Kamala. He has shown to continuously be there for people. Like I said, he's a high school teacher. He's also a coach, so he knows how to work with young people. I think that being a coach and a teacher keeps him in tune with young minds, which I think is really missing from a lot of politicians. I feel like there's a huge disconnect between politicians who are older and the younger generations after them, and hearing our thoughts and understanding our worries, and not just understanding how the world used to work, but how the world works now and where it's going. And even though he's 60, I feel like because he has that connection and because he's currently working towards furthering, the future, he has that good understanding. And I think that is something the nation needs. I think that is a good choice. So, he's a veteran. Like I said, he was in the National Guard. And on top of that, I feel like the vice president, Kamala Harris, now running for president, she on her own has her own merits, and you can look into them, because there is a lot of propaganda out there that's false, and you should do your own research. You should look into it. If there's something you want me to do the research for, let me know. Ask me questions, give me suggestions. It's an election year. Now we have our two candidates. Now we know what we're up against. Now we know what to look into. If there are things that you feel are missing, because like I said, I didn't know who Tim Walz was. So I went and I looked him up and I figured it out. And I'm like, you know what? Wow, like I see why he was chosen. So if there's something missing and a disconnect, you can definitely ask me, and I'll do the research and I'll make a video for it, because it's important. It's important to know who we're voting for. It's important to know what we're doing. It's important to vote for someone who does complete sentences. It's important to vote for somebody who thinks the way that, maybe not exactly the way that you think, but at least has your ideas in mind and your future in mind, and things that can benefit all of us, not just a very small select group of us. So keep that in mind when you cast your vote. But that is who Tim Walz is. I feel like Tim Walz is definitely a quality individual who deserves the chance to be vice president, the chance to give his recommendations and make a bigger name for himself. Because from someone born in a small town in Nebraska, to National Guard, to teacher in high school and coach, to House of Representatives, to 41st governor of Minnesota, and now a vice president candidate, he has definitely done the work on his own to move up, but not even move up for his own benefit, but to move up for the benefit of others. So I say yes. I say yes. And if you have any questions, like I said, ask me. But I think it's really important to vote for someone who thinks about our ideals. And Tim Walz has definitely, done the work, like I said, middle class work, cutting taxes in Minnesota, like alleviating stress from a huge part of the biggest part of the population. So something to be said. But hey, do your own research, ask your own questions, get your own answers, and make sure it's a reliable source. But while you're doing all of that, remember that everything you do it for you. Okay? I'm here. Thank you so much for being here. All right? I appreciate you guys. Like, share, subscribe. I'm Kim. Bye.